Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. I wanted to mention here at the top that beautiful performance of the national anthem that you just heard was performed by our good friend of the show, Yoshiki, and it was in Japan at the MLB Opening 2025. That was just an amazing, amazing performance, and Yoshiki just nailed it. My special guest today, well, I'm going to give you his all his information in just a moment, but Lash Fary is here with me today. He's my very special guest, and I'm so excited to talk to him. But you got a story,
It,
Lash, about the national anthem. I want to hear
well,
it.
I am just delighted. I feel like you've rolled out the red carpet for me, kind of knowing me in a way, because I am always obsessed with the national anthem. It's my favorite part of any sporting event. As a kid, I love the national anthem. Will sometimes just YouTube performances of the national anthem. One of my
That's
dear,
crazy.
dear friends of 20 years, Shoshana Bean, she's two-time Tony nominee. She just won a Grammy for Hell's Kitchen. When she texted me to tell me, she's like, "You'll never guess what I'm doing next week." I'm like, "I hope you're singing the national anthem somewhere." She's like, "It's at the US Open opening
Oh,
ceremonies." I'm also
wow.
a tennis fan. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, you have to send me the clips of the rehearsal." So she sent me the rehearsal. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you've got to do this and you've got to do that." She's like, I don't need music tips from you, but I'm glad that you like the performance." Anyway, I was just beside myself. I love the national anthem so much.
Well, it sounds like the way you love it so much, maybe those tips might, she should just give him a listen.
Oh, well, the tips were
Try it.
more like, oh, you should go high like you did in that other version because she sung it a bunch of times and it was like
Yeah.
orchestrated by like a Grammy award-winning producer who produced the whole thing. I mean, it was fantastic. It was just me being silly. I'm like, oh, well, if you want more music tips from somebody who doesn't sing or produce music, just let me know.
Well, the clips of her rehearsals are a gift in themselves, but God, send you a ticket to that. That'd be
Oh,
nice.
well, I get
But it'd
invited
be
to the
nice
US
to be
Open
there.
every year,
Yeah.
and I do not like crowds. I really don't like people that much, but certainly not people in crowds. And so going
Interesting.
out an hour outside of first of all, getting to Manhattan, then an hour outside of Manhattan, sitting in the heat and the humidity and all that stuff. I'd rather just be sitting here at home in the air conditioning, watching it on my 77-inch flat screen TV.
That's not a bad idea either. I'm with you. I like that you sometimes don't like people with your
Almost always.
almost always. Yeah, people do sometimes suck. Um, well, let's talk about, let me do a proper introduction here. Your career is incredible. Your business is just amazing. What a wonderful life choice you've made. I would have never thought of it, but I would, I think everyone that's gonna, they're gonna hear what you do, it will be a little bit envious. So here goes. Life is wonderful. Life should be lived well. And if a well-lived life came in a bag, it would come in a Lash Fairy bag. Lash Fairy is often called the gift guru, or this one's my favorite, the Sultan of Swag. The Hollywood Reporter recently described him as the curator behind 20 years worth of $30,000 Grammys gift lounge swag bags. Lash co founded Distinctive Assets to connect products and services with celebrities and influencers to create buzzworthy content. Distinctive Assets has worked exclusively with top award shows, including the Grammy Awards, the Latin Grammys, the Tony Awards, American Music Awards, the BET Awards, Kids' Choice Awards, and Academy of Country Music Awards. And there are more. Stay tuned. I'll tell you more about them. What does all this mean? And you're probably asking yourself, do you need a sample example? How about swag bags that have included everything from 23andMe DNA ancestry kits to World Creators Ishiki guided VR Zen meditations, Ileana's ostrich feather jewelry, you know, shoe jewelry, or necklaces for your booties, Alpha Priority VIP airport greeters, a year supply of Oxygen Genetics Foundation, Grosset Museum quality costume jewelry, famously donned by Marlene Dietrich and Greta Garbo, and the minimally invasive pinhole gum rejuvenation dental treatments, family circus training from the Petite Cirque, psychic readings from Go Beyond Here, a week stay at the famed Golden Door Wellness Retreat. There's also New Zealand harvested Manuka honey that aids in vocal health. The book Unfiltered. How to be as happy as you look on social media, and Southern Wicked Lemonade Moonshine to accompany that late night In-N-Out burger in the limo. Distinctive assets. The OG of celebrity gifting. Welcome, Lash.
Thanks so much for having me. I feel so honored when I look on your social media and see all the incredible guests that you have. So thanks for having me.
You just not put the notch, took it up a notch with you joining the guests here, Lash. You really, I'm honored to have you on. This is such a cool thing that you do, and I'm so excited to talk about it because I've never really thought about it, and I love these kind of stories and this type of story to share with the listeners because it's something you never get a chance. You hardly anyone gets a chance to hear about or think about and learn about. So to me, it's just fascinating. All right, here's my really first hard question. Where'd you get that super cool name?
Oh, well, I have my mom to thank for that. So Lash was my mom's maiden name, and she gave it to me as my name. And it's my middle name, actually. Roland is my first name. So it's just a family name. And then, of course, Fary. I just had to Lash Fary's your name. There's very few things you can do in life except give out gifts to celebrities, right? Or be an actor. Everyone thinks I made it up, but it's my birth name. My mom was a prophet, I always say.
Yeah, yeah. So she sort of predicted your future profession in life.
When I came out to my mom, I was like, and I don't want to hear us. I grew up in the South, so coming out to my mom 30 years ago, it was a different era. But I was like,
Yeah.
and I don't want to hear a single thing about it because you named me Lash Fairy. I had very few options.
Was that part of your argument?
It was for sure.
And I mean, there's nothing she could say to that, right?
Nothing. And in my
Nothing.
mom's honor, she passed away 10 years ago. But what I will say is that my mom rose to the occasion and had the response that every gay child wants their parent to have, which is, I just love you and I want you to be happy. So
Oh,
snaps belatedly to my mom.
yeah, that's great. That's a good story. Yeah, it was. You're right. 30 years ago was a whole different thing, a whole different environment, um, and probably took a lot of bravery to talk to your mom that way and tell
Well, it
her.
was different in that regard. And also when I started my business, I've been doing this. This is my 26th year in business. And you listed so many products
Congratulations.
that were like blasts from the past gifts that we've given. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that brand for 20 years. So it's kind of a nice little parade of gifts. But my point is that I've been doing this for so long. There was no social media when I started. So in the beginning, we literally had to get our clients in print magazines or in print
Right.
newspapers in order for them to get press coverage. So we've come a long way.
And there's probably a lot of listeners saying, "What is print? what, what is that?" Um, it has changed, and we talked about it a little bit here off air before we started about the marketing and media industry and how you get a message out is so much different than it was again 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Pick your decade. It's really changed. Uh, and radio, for a musician used to be the thing, right? Like you talk about getting your clients in print was the thing. Radio was the thing. And I talk to people now, I say we're on radio and they go, "What is radio? How do you get to a station?" Because everyone's streaming everything off their phone. So, as soon as I say radio, they changed it to podcast. It's like a podcast. I get that. All right, so when and that's a whole nother conversation I'd love to have with you sometime about the changes and how you adapt to that. And and we'll touch a little bit on it here,
Yeah,
hopefully.
I mean, well, luckily, despite all of the changes, the one thing that has not changed is that celebrities are still needle movers. You know, they were on the
Mm.
cover of magazines when we started. They're on the cover of magazines now, or on the covers of websites or whatever you would call the equivalent of, the online world. They still, move the needle for brands. They still move the needle for ticket sales. They still move the needle for box office, all of those things. So that's why, bottom line is that's why we're still in business 26 years later. It's why we're still able to align products and services with celebrities and get exposure for the clients who pay me.
And do the celebrities still draw, the big names, the Drew, the A-listers? Um, do they still draw the same way? Do they still get the attention? It sounds like you're saying they do. And then
100%.
do you see what other elements do you see coming in of celebrity in your business? Is there, are the young Hollywood, the influencers, if you want to call them that, the stars on social media and TikTok, are you seeing them move the needle as well?
Yeah, all of it. It's kind of like everyone can have a platform now, whether it's somebody who's an actor in film, whether it's a TV actor, whether it's a musician who's touring the country, whether it's a musician on stage in New York on Broadway, whether it's an influencer. I have a whole love-hate thing with influencers, because I
Hmm.
have so
Yeah.
many friends who have like called, their talent and they've like worked on their talent and honed their skills. And then you have an influencer who's like got millions more followers just because they've
Right.
got like a fun TikTok channel. And, I don't know what the future of that is, but for now and for our brands, 100%, if there is an influencer in a sphere that makes sense for a brand, we'll 100% send them a product and say, here, try this Miage skincare and do a review on your beauty platform. So it all makes sense.
I think I have a love hate as well with influencers, and mainly I think I thought about why, and I don't like the name influencers. It just feels evasive, like intrusive, and
There's
uh,
naming issues across the board. I mean, the fact that they're
it
called
feels bullying.
followers, like I
Yeah,
hate the word
right.
followers.
Yeah, I
It
do too.
feels like very creepy to me, but
Kind of
it is
creepy,
what it is.
right? I'll probably do it with you here and slip and forget, but when I give out social media handles for the for the people that are on the show, and I say follow them, I always feel like I've just put them in danger somehow.
Yeah, I mean, but the reality is that it's important. I have one of my best friends in the world. She's been literally on three or four of the top TV shows in the history of television, and she's lost parts because she's one of those people who resisted social media in the beginning. My life is
Mhm.
private. I don't want people seeing pictures of my child or
Right.
my home or any of those things for privacy reasons. And because she got a late start, she doesn't have 10 million followers. She's got a few 100,000 followers, and she's actually lost acting gigs despite her
Wow.
impeccable pedigree because she had fewer followers than somebody who had millions who might be less accomplished acting wise, which I think is a sad testament to things, but
Hmm.
it's the world we live in.
It's sort of the go-to, right, for the people that are hiring. They want to know that their movie, their music, their product's going to get out there and be seen.
Yeah.
By the person they're hiring to represent that. Yeah, it makes sense, but it is a sad commentary. So when you were a kid and all other kids are out there playing with their Hot Wheels or their Star Wars toys, were you packing them all up in a swag bag?
I wasn't, but and I know you're joking, but the truth is that even as a kid, as a 10 or 11 or 12, year old, even as a teenager, um, I would go to the mall with my mom. We'd be shopping. It'd be June or July, summer vacation. I'd see gifts that I'd love for my sister, or I love this for Aunt Helen.
Yeah.
I'd buy them, we'd wrap them, they'd sit in the closet for months, all wrapped and ready to go. This was me as a kid. And to this day, if you came to my house in July, opened up my Christmas, well, I have three Christmas closets, but my Christmas gift closet, I have all of my Christmas gifts wrapped, bowed, tagged, ready to go by July. So some things have not changed. I've always loved giving gifts. I've always loved the thoughtfulness of gifts. I wish I could say in hindsight, like, oh, I had this master plan and I have a business degree and, I was a master marketer and this was all carefully laid out and this was my exact trajectory that I had planned 26 years ago. But that would be a lie. The reality is that my business partner and I started a company. Ruth McCartney, who you had on your show recently,
Mhm.
who introduced us, built our first website back in the day when that was a
Wow.
novelty. And we were like, let's give this a try. But we did it from the perspective of, we had this idea of connecting some great products that we loved with talent backstage. We had access backstage at the Grammys and the American Music Awards through a mutual friend. And we set up our first ever gift lounge 26 years ago, not knowing if it would work. The brands were paying us, kind of not knowing. Toomey was like, oh, this sounds interesting. We've never done anything like this before, but we'll try it. We gifted a bunch of amazing people, and then cut to when Bass is going up in space. He's pulling up to the NASA launch pad with the Toomey bag that we'd given him at the Grammys.
Oh,
So,
wow.
even back in the day, there were all these amazing success stories that would happen, and it was just sort of like learning as we went in real time. And we just kind of took a leap of faith, and it just sort of all fell together to the point where we've done almost every award show in the world at one point or another. Some we've done for 25 years, like the Grammys. Some I've never done, but I'll be doing for the first time. Like we'll be doing the Primetime Emmy Awards this fall for the first time
Mm,
ever for whatever
wow.
reason.
Congratulations.
So even in my advanced years, we have new opportunities that come along. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. And sometimes you can't plan these things out. You just kind of have to like let the universe guide you as you go through.
You said a moment ago that it wasn't like you had this master plan or you had this business plan and you went to school and built this business that way, but you did have the love and the passion. I'm hearing that from an early age. You had a love for what you are basically what you've turned your business into, and you have been at the right place at the right time in history to basically create something out of nothing. You've created this huge business and life kind of lifestyle for the celebrities and the people that receive the bags and want them. Everybody wants one, right?
Well,
Um,
I don't think you're ever too rich or too famous to enjoy getting a gift. I think Oprah has sort of demonstrated that time and time again. She loves giving gifts, she loves receiving gifts. There's something sort of like childlike on Christmas morning when you give
yeah.
someone a gift. It doesn't matter your means. I get comments on Instagram all the time from people who are like, oh, you shouldn't be giving these things to people who can afford to buy them. It's like, well, that's not the point. That's not why we're giving them the gift. It's like you don't give your child a gift for their birthday because they quote unquote need it. It's like a celebration. And this is a celebration for the various events that we're a part of, congratulating someone on their Oscar nomination, congratulating someone for being a part of the Grammys or winning their first Grammys. These are big life moments. And these are gifts that acknowledge that. That's sort of in one lane. And then in another lane, these are people who have worked incredibly hard to get
Yeah.
to a place in their life where people are lavishing them with free stuff. When they were starting out and on the road trying to get gigs and, playing rooms with 10 people in them, if they were a musician,
Yeah.
no one was giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars of free gifts then. And so they feel like they have earned it. And I feel like they have earned it. And then the
I agree
third
with you.
lane is that it's a win-win. It's not exactly for free. All the brands are mentioning on their social media, these are the celebrities who got their products. There's an opportunity for the celebrities to be seen wearing the t-shirts, going on the trips that we give them to the resorts. When Viola Davis went to the resort in Hawaii that we had given her and posted pictures on Instagram, that was stardust sprinkled on that resort. And so it's a nice win-win.
Yeah. I've never understood people that get angry about celebrities receiving big paychecks or gifts or the things that come because they did work very, 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 very hard and are still working really hard. It's not what is it, 1 or 2% get to that level, and there's a lot of pain in between. I just never. I'm always happy for people
Well, I
that
mean, it's
get
basic
the re-
economics. They're getting these paychecks because they obviously know the people who are paying them that that's going to translate into ticket sales and, making money and everyone wins. So, nothing happens in a vacuum.
no. So back to as you start developing an idea, as the idea sparks and you start creating the company. Going back though, back to that younger Lash and the early days, I think you've described them pretty well. Are you someone that likes when you go shopping, you like to carry the bag?
Yeah, I don't believe you should
Yeah.
ever buy something you can't carry.
There's so many, I hate to carry my own bags or just carry bags. I just feel like I just spend a lot of money and I'm showing off or something. But you like to
Oh,
actually,
that's the best part, right? Is that you
I
get to
know,
have all the
I know.
spoils and it kind of feels like you've accomplished something. You know.
Do you remember a product that spoke to you or that you just had to have, something that was shiny and new and as a child you're like you kind of coveted a little bit? Did you ever have that one item that you
Oh, as
first
a child, I
yeah,
that I'd
you
have to
remember?
probably the Bionic Woman sports car. I remember I used to love the Bionic Woman. I loved all superheroes. I'd
Yeah.
spin around in the yard trying to turn into Wonder Woman for hours and hours, and I was just devastated that I could never spin into Wonder Woman. But the Bionic Woman I also loved, and they had a model of the sports car where like her legs would pop out the side and her legs would stop the car with her bionic leg. So I do remember that specific product for sure. But
That's a good
It's been
one.
a long time.
And but you never thought I'm gonna one day build, I'm gonna be in business putting these things together, these things that
Never,
I
never.
love
But
that
I
you
always
curate.
loved, TV. I'd watch the Golden Girls in the evenings with my mom, or, I would look forward to certain TV programs back in the day when you had to be home to watch them. Like that's how old I
Yeah.
am. But yeah, I love that. And I loved, musicians, Barbara Streisand and Bette Midler. These are people whose music has spoken to me, and they're sort of like the soundtrack of my youth. And so to then as an adult get to meet these people, one of my prized possessions is a framed thank you note from Bette Midler.
I
And
think I saw
getting
that
to
somewhere. Is that on your website?
probably or in an article, I think it was
Yeah.
in that Hollywood Reporter article, or getting to meet Barbara Streisand backstage when she was being honored at the Grammys the last time, and go into the dressing room and say, Miss Streisand, your music has always meant so much to me. Thank you for being here. Here's your gift bag. I don't usually deliver the gift bags myself. I have a whole team of people, and it's sort of like a divide and conquer. But literally everyone at the Grammys knew that I loved Barbara Streisand. I have a whole portrait gallery of her in the hallway here at my
Mm.
home. I have a lock of her hair framed somewhere here on a nightstand. And they were like, everyone was making sure I got ushered in, and I got to meet her in her dressing room. And she was so much shorter than in my mind. She's a very petite lady.
That's what
Um,
everybody says, don't they? When
but
you put
uh,
your
but anyway,
car.
it's moments like that are
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Let's take a quick break. I am with my special guest today, Lash Fary. He's the co-founder of Distinctive Assets. And Distinctive Assets is a niche marketing company offering celebrity placement and branding opportunities within the entertainment industry. Distinctive Assets connects products and services with celebrities and influencers to create a buzzworthy content. Distinctive Assets, the OG of celebrity gifting. Distinctive Assets has worked exclusively with top award shows, including the Grammy Awards, the Latin Grammys, Tony Awards, American Music Awards, the BET Awards, Kids' Choice Awards, Academy of Country Music Awards. And now, if we put every award show in there, I think I'd have that somebody would pull me off side of the stage with a coat hanger or something, right? Because the list just goes on and on. Lash. Forbes magazine says the brand value added by celebrities is immediate and palpable. You can go to distinctassets.com to find out more. It's a pretty cool website. There's quite a bit on there. I'm going to warn you, you're going to get lost and spend some time there, but you're going to enjoy yourself. I also wanted to mention before we go to break here that Wayward, my favorite film of 2025 so far by director Jacqueline Froelich, is out Friday, streaming everywhere, Apple TV, Amazon, and Google Plus. I have Will Britton on the show tomorrow. He'll be there on Friday. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming back, and we're talking gifts and swag with Lash Fary. We'll be right back.